Okay, so it's 10:30 on my watch, so if we can start recording, I'd like to get started. Welcome to those who are in the presentation for today to the WorkBC Terrace Virtual Information Session with Securiguard. WorkBC Terrace acknowledges with gratitude the Tsimshian people for permitting us to work, play, and live on their traditional and unceded territory. So some housekeeping for today. My name is Shelley, and I'm an employment advisor here at WorkBC Terrace. To avoid any background noise, we are going to ask that you stay muted during the presentation. And the event will be recorded. We suggest using your first name only, and if you don't wish to be in the recording, just simply turn off your video. Type your questions in the chat box, and Linza will assist you to get an answer during the Q&A portion of the event. If you require any technical support, type a message in the chat box, and Sarah will assist you. So before we get started with our presenter today, I'd like to share with you a little bit about the WorkBC Terrace services. If you are eligible to work in BC, our resources, training programs, and inclusive services are available to you. We are currently open Monday to Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., except on Thursdays when we are open until 6 p.m. We are closed all statutory holidays and during the lunch hour from 12 p.m. until 1 p.m. During COVID, we ask that you call 250-638-8108 to schedule an appointment. For more information about our services, check out our website or follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. I will now pass the mic to Erin.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Erin, and I'm an employment advisor here at WorkBC. And I'm just going to introduce to you John Basque, who's from Securiguard. He is the Indigenous Employment and Training Coordinator. And I will pass it over to you, John.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I just first want to thank everybody at WorkBC for giving me the opportunity to speak to everybody. What I'd like to just kind of start off with is I'm going to start a slideshow. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to start off with just kind of explaining who Securiguard is as a company. I'm going to talk a little bit about the security industry in general, just some of the career opportunities and different aspects of security that there is. Myself, I've been in the security industry for quite a while, and I've had an opportunity to do quite a few different things within the security industry. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick. Perfect. So Securiguard is a Vancouver-based company that's been operating for over 42 years. The company itself was actually started in 1974 in a small mining town of Cassiar. It was rebranded to Securiguard in 1977 and has been operating for over 40 years. Darcy Kernigan is our only president and CEO in the company's history. He's been leading us since day one, constantly growing the company, constantly improving. About a year and a half ago, we brought in Robin, our president and CEO, or COO, sorry, and he's continuously helped our company grow. Currently, right now, we have over 1,800 full-time employees within British Columbia and Alberta, and we operate within Vancouver, Victoria, Nanaimo, British Columbia Interior, Fraser Valley, North Coast, and Prince George. I'd like to just play this video really quick to kind of let Darcy introduce Securiguard a little bit more further as far as everything that Securiguard's done.
John, we're not able to hear it, or at least I'm not.
Oh,
Can you share your computer audio?
sorry about that. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just going to exit out this.
There should be a button, John, to slide over just before you, when you're going to share your screen, but before you actually select the screen you're going to share. Should be
Oh,
at the
okay.
top
Sorry.
there. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
there.
okay.
Sorry about that, guys. Perfect. I got that figured out now.
To become a great leader, you got to become a human being first. We're the human component of the security program. People said technology will take over. It hasn't. There's more people, more guards, more representation. People need to have that human touch, that human feel. When I was growing up, it was sort of evident that I wasn't a scholastic type and I wasn't really going to be going to university. My father had started this small company called World Investigation with one investigator. And then when I was 17 years old, I got involved in undercover jobs. Here's my first license. This is in January 1974. So there's me as a private investigator. For the one job, and it was pretty crazy, 4,000 people in a small town in the north. There's lots of gambling. It's quite a wild place. Our first line was, we need somebody to be an extension of your management, focused on customer service. And they came back to us and said, well, would you guys do it? So we sort of fell into the security guard business. That was our first contract. Next month, that'll be 44 years ago. We've built it up really quite slowly, like each year, 8%, 9%, which has allowed us to retain earnings so that we can still be around, so I can still be the owner. Today, we're about 2,000 employees, primarily in Alberta and British Columbia. We do about 80 million a year in revenue. My father, he told me one thing one time. He said, you're a good listener. Really, that became the key to getting these contracts, was just listening and not trying to figure out all the answers for customers. As it started to grow, it became harder to create order in an organization. Harder to get all your values going through each different layer. You sort of fall onto the command and control. That's got to be the way. You can't check on people enough. They're all over the place. They're in warehouses, they're in a bank, they're in an office tower, they're in an airport. How do I ensure that they're all doing exactly what we promised the customer we'd do? So we coined this term REACH. So it's the respect for people that understand empathy, accountability, courtesy, huge word. And then of course, honesty. When you get good people, they do go places. When I focused on hiring people with those values, really defining them and telling people that's what we want, and that's how you're going to get more opportunity here, it just makes everything easier. I truly feel good when I hear these stories about our people going above and beyond and really getting it. If we could get every officer to believe that they can make a difference, then we're a success story.
Perfect. So as you heard with Darcy, the core values of our company are very important to us. Our core values are under the REACH acronym, which stands for respect, empathy, accountability, courtesy, and honesty. These are things that are echoed throughout our company. So just a little bit more about myself. I am the Indigenous Employment and Training Coordinator for Securiguard. I am a proud member of Mi'kmaq First Nations from Listigouche in Quebec. I've been involved in the security industry for just over 10 years, gaining experience from different fields of event security, private investigation, executive protection, and industrial security. I started as the Indigenous Employment and Training Coordinator in May of this year. and I was previously the duty manager at the Site C location, working with our joint venture partnership with Soto Safety and Security since 2019. So just over 2.5 years I've been with the company, and I've had a great time with this company. Their Securiguard is really big on making sure we give the opportunities internally as well as externally. And myself, I'm kind of proof of that. So my main role as the Indigenous Employment and Training Coordinator is to work with Indigenous communities and provide training and employment opportunities. But I also do provide support for all of our Indigenous employees as an Indigenous liaison. And I'm always willing to help anyone who is seeking assistance or support. I just would like to touch base on this too, as you know, my title is Indigenous Employment and Training Coordinator, but I do assist and I do help all with many different projects for recruiting, Indigenous and non-Indigenous. You know, with some of the experience that I've had in the field, I definitely can lend a lot of help for the recruiting aspect. I will further put my contact details in the chat for everybody to have, but they are listed below here. So my email is John, JONB, at securiguard.com, and my phone number is 778-870-1490. But once again, I will put these in the chat so everybody can have access to that. So just touching base in the security industry in general, so some of the career opportunities and employment opportunities in the security industry in general is, you know, there's security guards that are needed. Canine handler is a growing industry right now. Under the Securiguard umbrella, we do have a company called Western Canine, which does all of our canine patrols, bomb detection, at the airport, at the ferries. It's a really great company that's growing every day. Kind of touching base into where Darcy started and some of the experience I've had myself, there is a huge need for private investigators. Right now, the private investigating industry is changing. This year, there's been a lot of changes within the industry, and there is a growing need for newer people to come into that industry. I will touch base later on some of the training that is needed and some of the resources that are available to acquire such training. Executive protection is something that I've done myself, you know, formerly known as bodyguard work. It's taken quite a big different change in the last 5 to 10 years and become much more of an ironed out kind of industry with set standards. And it's a very, very, very professional industry in executive protection. Loss prevention officers. Loss prevention officers, I'm sure everybody's seen one. They've seen them in the store, stopping shoplifting and attempts like that. Loss prevention officer is a great start off for anybody that's looking to go into law enforcement or anything in that avenue. Even correctional officers. It's a great start off in loss prevention. You do learn a lot to do with the policies on arresting and techniques as far as that, as well as report writing. Armored vehicle transport. Nowadays, you know, with the world kind of going in a different direction as far as really making sure security is there for everything, armored vehicle transport is growing every day. Security alarm installer. This is an industry that is huge right now. I'm sure, you know, there's companies like TELUS that have got into alarm installing, and it's going to continuously grow. I know, you know, Darcy did touch base in that video about the fact that there always is a need for human interaction within the security industry, and security alarm installers are not necessarily in that line of the security work, but they do provide a huge service as far as installing those alarms, maintaining them, and making sure those alarms are active and can be responded to. The last one I will touch base on is a security consultant. This is kind of something I wanted to touch base on for anybody that may be already in the security industry or is considering the security industry as a long-term goal. This is something that I'm working on myself as a to get a security consultant license. It's the ability to go in and obviously consult with other security companies and other companies on what their security needs are by providing risk assessments. It's a very big thing in corporate security right now. So some of the roles of a security professional, I'll kind of go through some of the common duties and some of the common criteria. Patrolling designated areas, providing access control to project sites, being a visual presence to detect and deter unauthorized persons. This is one that I definitely like to make sure I touch a little bit more on. 9 times out of 10, when there's a security presence somewhere, it will definitely deter anybody that is wanting to do anything wrong, just for the fact of being able to see that there is security there and the incident will be responded to. Identifying safety hazards, another huge one. I've worked on many different industrial sites, and the big common phrase on those industrial sites is everybody wants to go home. Everybody wants to go home safe, and security plays a very big part in reporting those safety hazards to make sure they're addressed. Performing radio check-ins is pretty standard, just making sure that everybody's accounted for and everybody has what they need to complete their shift. Reporting security breaches, writing reports and keeping notes. This is one that will be echoed throughout the security industry constantly. Report writing and note taking in your notebook is everything when it comes to security, as far as being able to go back into your notes and maybe there's a situation that happened with an individual and it's not the first time it's happened. Well, unless you have that documented properly in your notes, it's going to be hard to prove that something has happened previously with this person. So some of the common criteria for a security professional is a keen eye for observing premises, the ability to stand for long periods of time. Unfortunately, we are ground level operation generally for security. So that does involve, active patrols, walking, the ability to stand. Some of our shifts can be up to 12 hours. So there are rest periods. Obviously, we're not asking somebody to stand in one place for 12 hours, but we are definitely making sure that people have the ability to do so in certain aspects of certain jobs. Touching again on the ability to write reports, good communication skills. I can tell you on this right now, communication skills have got me through a lot of situations in the security industry, especially working in event security. Being able to de-escalate situations and communicate a message across to somebody and be able to get that rapport with somebody is a huge asset in the security industry. The empathy and accountability kind of touches into that a little bit. Being able to have that third person view to kind of view a situation and kind of see what the best result for everybody is, and being accountable for your actions, having that listening mindset and being a respectful communicator, just falls more in line with our company values of reach. So touching base on some of the online resources that are available in the security industry. So the Justice Institute of British Columbia, known as also as the JIBC, this will probably be one that you hear a lot of. So the Justice Institute of British Columbia is the governing school generally for a lot of the basic security training courses. They also offer lots of different career paths and lots of different courses, everything from bylaw to law enforcement to corrections. It's a huge asset. I've done several courses within JIBC, and I'll continue to do so. Security programs of British Columbia. So security programs of British Columbia is the governing body for licenses for a security individual. So somewhat of the process, I'll kind of touch base a bit more, but I'll kind of explain how those two interact with each other right now. So the Justice Institute of British Columbia, there are other accredited schools to do basic security training at, but for the most part, a lot of people do theirs at the JIBC. So they will perform the basic security training course and give you a certificate that you've completed it. That certificate will then have to be applied to security programs of British Columbia to obtain a security worker license. There are some other documents that are needed in there, and I will touch base on those towards the end of the presentation, just so everybody kind of has an understanding of how the security industry works and what's needed to obtain that security worker license. Professional Security Knowledge Network, PSKN. This is an online resource that does a lot of different, they do some free training, they do some very cheap training, they do some expensive training. They do everything from notebook taking to de-escalation techniques to active shooters in the workplace. This is also where if somebody is looking to go into the private investigator avenue, that is where there will be a course that is needed to obtain an under supervision private investigator license. Once you have an under supervision private investigator license, that is where you will be able to work, obviously under the supervision of a fully licensed private investigator. To obtain a full investigator license, you have to obtain 2,000 hours of under supervision work, and then you can apply to get your full license. ASIS International. So ASIS International is, once again, it's a bit of a further reach into the security industry for people that have already kind of been in the security industry or are looking at a long-term career. Definitely take a look at ASIS International. I've done a couple courses with them, and I'm currently looking at doing my CPP, which is a Certified Protection Professional. With ASIS, they are kind of the gold standard as far as security management and a lot of the certificates that are needed to really further your career if you're looking to get into security management that way. And then lastly is the Private Investigators Association of British Columbia, the PIABC. So the PIABC it's not needed to be a member of the PIABC to actually work as a private investigator, but it's a huge asset as it's a big association of lots of investigators that have a lot of experience, and they're always willing to help out, and they will offer links to other training, workshops, and so forth. So about Securiguard, as you may have heard Darcy say and myself, our mission is to make people feel safe. Our vision is to be the best at making people feel safe by inspiring our frontline staff to believe they can make a difference in everything that they do. It's something that is echoed throughout our company constantly, we can make a difference. Our core values being respect, treating others with dignity and respect, empathy, recognizing and responding to others' needs, accountability, doing what we say. That's a huge thing, is making sure that we do what we say we're going to do. Courtesy, engaging people with polite and courteous manners, and honesty, being truthful in character in everything that we do. So this next video is one of our canine handlers, and it's a bit of a day in the life of her and her canine. So I'll just start this video.
I would describe Diesel as a miniature version of me. He is small, he is loud, and he is sassy. He thinks that he is the center of my attention all the time, but I am very strict with him because he's not a pet. My role here at the airport is to make people feel safe. We want people to know that there's a security presence here and that if there's something here, we're going to find it. We're looking for explosives or anything suspicious. We do everything from checking cars, bags, garbage cans, passengers lining up. We go to the restricted side. We can do planes. So we're very universal here. We are working a lot with the police, and we respond to a lot of serious calls. And then a lot of it is also us training to make sure that Diesel stays on his toes and he knows that he's not just strolling around the airport for fun. Yes! Whoa! The reason why we train so much is because in an environment like this, it's very unique. There's people everywhere, people who don't speak English, people who are scared of dogs, which is something that I deal with a lot. When Diesel finds something, you can tell a switch goes off in his brain, like he becomes very serious and very focused. He doesn't care about food, he doesn't care about toys until he finds what he's looking for. Yes! Good boy! Good job, good boy! Yeah, good boy! I have always been pretty determined about what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to work with animals, I just didn't know how to get into that. So I decided to go into law enforcement studies, and Securiguard actually came to my school and did a presentation about their canine program. As soon as I saw that this was a possibility, I was like right in. Didn't feel like work when I was training, and it didn't feel like work when I was working. So I was like, this is great. They're paying me to do stuff that I'd be doing anyways. Yes, this is the best job ever, but it's also a lifestyle. People think that the dog is like in a room at the airport when we go home at night, which is not true. I mean, Diesel is with me all the time. You need to take care of this animal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if it's your passion, it doesn't feel like work. And I don't see a better thing that I could be doing.
So that was a day in the life of a canine handler, and Courtney is a great member of the team. So some of the other industries that Securiguard does serve is we do aviation security with our YVR contract. We do critical infrastructure and industrial security with the contract that I was previously on with the Site C contract, with the Coastal Gas Link, with the Trans Mountain Expansion Project. We have port security down at the Vancouver ports, commercial and residential security. We do have government security contracts, such as our Canadian Border Services contract. And with everything opening up again, special events are starting to be planned, and that is a huge presence that we generally have. Is we do a lot of event security. So this next video is just kind of a day in the life of one of our port security supervisors, Adrian, and just kind of his journey within Securiguard in general.
The fear of never growing is what scares me. Mobile the guardhouse. I don't want to be the same person I was 3 months ago. Muhammad Ali once said that the man who views the world at 50 the same as he did when he was 20 just wasted 30 years of his life. And that's something that I definitely live by. Since I was younger, I've always wanted to help people and kind of make a difference. Being in that position where people are coming to you and they need help, I think has always been a passion of mine. We are at a port here in North Vancouver. It's such a big site. We have security here 24/7, 200 people coming in daily. Our main role here is to ensure that people that are coming on site, that they have a valid port pass or they're approved visitors. Where are you going today? Over here, we deal with concentrated minerals, sulfur, agricultural products, and diesel fuel as well. A lot of different people involved, different stakeholders, and you're having to manage different interests. So it's definitely something that requires a lot of discretion and keeps you on your toes. It's never, every day is never the same. What I like about what I do is just being in a position where people can come to me for input and advice, and I like to be the person that they call when they're having trouble. I started in Securiguard working in loss prevention. After a little over a year of that, I did get to the point where I felt like I learned everything I needed to learn. From then, I just realized I needed to have new challenges and learn new tools. Within a big company like Securiguard, you have so many different areas where you can work in. It's important to always challenge yourself to grow. Now I'm responsible for a whole site and 13 people. Security is definitely people oriented because we make people feel safe. It's so dynamic. You have so many different areas where you can work in. it can never really get boring.
Okay, copy that. We had a HVC truck that just came in.
I always saw myself exceeding and doing well wherever life was going to take me, but just where I am now, I couldn't have imagined it.
So I'll briefly kind of go over some of the opportunities that we have within Securiguard. So one of the bigger opportunities is our Coastal GasLink contract. So there's several different spreads, basically locations within the Coastal GasLink project as it stretches throughout, I believe it's going down Highway 16 area. So there's LeJac, Houston, Burns Lake, Kitimat, Terrace, Prince George, Fraser Lake, Fort Fraser, New Hazelton, and Smithers as some of the locations. Not all these locations are actively hiring right now, but for the majority, most of them are, especially for the summer ramp up. We definitely have a growing interest in recruiting for these positions. These positions are 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off as a camp position for 12-hour shifts. The pay rate for these positions is $19.61. Some of the requirements for the Coastal GasLink and a lot of the positions within our company, especially when it comes to our driving positions, is to have a valid Class 5 driver's license and have a clean driver's abstract and a claims history. We do ask for a 5-year abstract and a 6-year claim history. We do understand that, you know, there can be small little things that do happen here and there, and we definitely will look at everybody individually. But for the most part, we generally look for that clean driver's abstract and claims history. There is a need to pass a pre-employment drug and alcohol screening. I know that the laws have changed around cannabis, but on industrial work sites, it's still prohibited, and it's still prohibited from being in your system. Realistically, this is just a big safety concern. I don't think anybody really wants anybody operating machinery or driving a vehicle on a work site that is under the influence of any drugs or alcohol. So a BC security workers license is an asset. However, we are willing to sponsor candidates for BC security training course, which we do conduct over Zoom right now. You know, things are starting to open up a little bit, but you know, we're doing one a month at least through an instructor-led Zoom class. That's a Monday to Friday, 8 hour, it's 40 hours, the whole course. There is an exam that is written the Monday after generally, unless the JIBC is closed, then it'll be rescheduled. But the exam itself, you are given 2 hours to do, and it requires a 60% pass rate to be able to pass and get your basic security training certificate. So another project that I did talk about is the Trans Mountain Expansion Project. I do understand everybody is in Terrace for the most part. I just wanted to kind of touch base on this, just in case there's some people that have joined in that are outside the area or looking at moving somewhere, just to kind of show some of the other opportunities in our industrial areas. So in the Vancouver Lower Mainland, we do have several locations with the Trans Mountain Expansion Project, and within the BC interior, you know, Valemont, Clearwater, and Merritt is just opened. These also are 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 12-hour shifts. The rate is a little bit different between the Vancouver Lower Mainland and BC Interior by about $10 a day. This is to account for the fact that the Vancouver Lower Mainland shifts are 4 days on, 4 days off of 12-hour shifts, and the Vancouver Lower Mainland is a unionized site, whereas the BC Interior is not a unionized right now. So once again, some of the requirements do transfer over as far as Coastal GasLink and Trans Mountain is the Class 5 driver's license, clean driver's abstract and claims history, the ability to pass a pre-employment drug and alcohol screening, and the BC security license being an asset, but we definitely will look to sponsor candidates for the security training course over our Zoom. To kind of touch base on I think it might be a question that somebody will ask. It generally is when will we be doing kind of in-person classes again? Things are starting to lift and open, and we definitely are looking at the possibility of doing in-person classes again. It just depends where we'll be doing them as far as the closest location to you. I do kind of push the fact of the Zoom courses. If technology is not your thing, then let's wait and try to do it in person, or let's try to get some assistance to try to help you out. I'm sure everybody at Work BC will be great to help out with, but with the Zoom one, it does allow it to kind of expedite the process and not sit there and wait for a class to kind of be put on in your area. Some of the requirements that are needed to do the course is a computer access with a webcam and a microphone. For the actual exam, there's a need to kind of download a Chrome extension for a proctor, because when you're writing the exam, the JIBC will have a proctor review to make sure that the person that's writing the test is the person that's actually supposed to be writing the test, and that there's no cheating or assistance that's happening. Yeah, so the Zoom classes right now, we're doing once a month. If we have more interest, we will put on more. They are a pretty successful rate of everybody that does the Zoom class passes. For the most part, for what I've seen, is I'd say about a 90-95% success rate with people doing the Zoom courses. And right now, I believe we have our next Zoom course scheduled for the 19th of this month. So kind of touch base a little bit more centralized in the area of Terrace. So right now, we technically are looking for part-time and casual employees. These positions could lead to full-time. We have quite a few things in the works for the area. So in Terrace, Prince Rupert, and Kitimat, we're looking for casual security guards as part-time at $18 an hour, which these positions could lead to full-time. I do have Brittany from our company here to kind of answer some more questions towards any of these locations, exactly what we're looking for as far as the exact position. Another great thing about Securiguard that I take a lot of pride in is our joint ventures with Indigenous communities. We have quite a few. I think we are at about 8 now, and I think we have another one that's being finalized later. As you see them here, these are all the companies that we've done joint ventures with in all the different nations and Indigenous communities. So our joint ventures are built off, pillars of that we've set up, for long-term training and employment, building reputation and capacity with these Indigenous companies and joint venture partnerships through mentorship, profit sharing with the nation to help the community with improvement projects and educational scholarships and environmental stewardship, falling back on our REACH core values is, saying what we're going to do and doing it and being accountable for everything. So our workforce, just to kind of touch base a little bit more, we do have about 1,800 to 2,000 full-time employees, but we have quite a few part-time and casuals, as we have quite a few people that are going to school or work other jobs and just want to work part-time and casual. So the last time I ran the numbers, we were just under 2,600 with all of our staff, and we currently employ 159 individuals who have self-identified as being Indigenous, and 141 individuals identified from being from a First Nation community, and 18 of those individuals identified as being from Métis communities. These pictures here are kind of a special place for me. This is one of my guards that I formerly had at the Site C contract while I was there. She's been there since day one. She's really one of the best guards I've ever managed. And her name's Charlene, and this is her, using her notebook, taking her notes, and kind of a picture of her kind of in front of some of the construction of the St. C Dam. Let's kind of touch base a bit more on the training. So, like we had said, we are definitely looking to sponsor people for basic security training, which is a 40-hour course. In 2020, we provided BST training to 162 people in partnership with Work BC and several Indigenous communities for work with the Trans Mountain Expansion Pipeline. When it comes to these industrial security positions, there are other certificates that are needed to be on the site, but we will gladly provide that training. Some of the training is, a first aid level 1, bear awareness, WMIS, and a pipeline construction safety training certificate. Generally speaking, when it comes to these courses, as far as the cost that would generally be associated without sponsorship, the course itself is generally about anywhere from $350 to $400 wherever you're going to the school, and the license itself after is another $120 for the first year. We are more than happy, if people meet the requirements and want to come work with us, we are definitely willing to help people out with the training and sponsor them for that. There may be a need to sign a sponsorship agreement in this case, which states, we'll take care of the training courses and everything, and we ask for you to guarantee or to sign that you would work for the company for a minimum of 3 months. I obviously hope everybody stays with the company longer. And, as you've seen within those videos, there's plenty of opportunity in Securiguard. There is room to grow. There's different aspects of security. If you want to have a bit more of a customer service basis, there's opportunities there. If you want to work in the industrial security, there's opportunities there. If your goal is to eventually work within K9, there's opportunities. Yeah, it's really a great company. I'd worked for quite a few private security, smaller companies before joining Securiguard. And it's been nothing but a pleasure working for Securiguard over the last two and a half years, and continuously growing and seeing the company grow itself. At this point, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I definitely would like to open up the conversation for some questions and answers.
So if anyone has questions, they can just hit the little hand icon. I'll do it so that people can see. And then it'll put a little hand by your name and you can fire away. Or write it in the chat.
Or if you're feeling brave, you can also turn on your mic.
There's lots of good information there. People are probably really thinking now.
Yeah, and don't be afraid. There's no silly questions. The security industry can be a bit confusing getting into at the very beginning. And that's why I like to try to make sure that I definitely will provide any support that people need as far as any information. I personally have a passion for the security industry, and I'll talk about security industry all day long with people.
No questions. I know. So the other thing too, oh, Terry has a question.
Perfect.
Go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, hi. I'm just wondering what kind of jobs are available up in Terrace, like at which location or Or is there any specific jobs in Terrace?
Give me 1 sec. So Brittany, are you there? Can you kind of speak on this matter?
Yeah, so right now we're only hiring on casual, just in the Terrace area. And that being said, it's not too casual for like a specific site. Like we have a couple different sites throughout the city. So if we like call you for like a one-off or whatever, it could be at basically any of our sites. That being said, like, I mean, we're always getting new contracts and stuff like that. So we could be hiring for full-time next week. We don't really know.
Okay, we have another question, and that's from Nathan Green. The question is, for security ticket, do you have to renew every year like other tickets?
So that's a good question. So what happens is the actual basic security training ticket never expires, but the license does need to be renewed. So generally speaking, depending on how much of a commitment you want to put in from the get-go, there is 1 year, 2 year, 3 year licensing fees. 120, I believe, is the fee for the first time license of a year, and then there will be a renewal after that. So what security programs does is they send you an email about 3 months before your license expires with an access code to kind of associate with your license. And at that point, you would want to renew your license. I believe it's every 5 years they ask for a new passport style picture. So right now too, this is a great time. I'll kind of address a little bit more of the requirements for a security worker license, because I did fail to kind of touch base on that again. So some of the needs for a security worker license is that basic security training certificate from one of the schools. There is a need for a passport style picture for your license. There is, right now they have waived it because of COVID, but they will be doing it again in the future, and most likely asking people to supply them. There's a need for fingerprints. There is a criminal background check that is performed. One thing I do like to let people know is, I don't want to get into anybody's personal matters, but I have in the past helped some people that have had some small things on their criminal background check to kind of help them through that process to still get a license. Security programs, they don't just flat out deny you. They put a flag on it and they'll let you know, hey, we found something. Can you please explain this to us? And that's where I've helped people write letters and step in that way. The main things that they're looking for that are big flags to them, but obviously people can change, and as long as we can prove that. But the two things they're mainly looking for are, theft and assaults. Fraud, that kind of, anything that kind of makes it seem that somebody shouldn't be trusted to be the overseeing eyes of something to do with financial or to do with people, especially when it comes to that event security. I don't think anybody wants a guy working event security that's dealing with drunk people that has been known to assault people. The whole point of security is to de-escalate situations and not allow it to that. There is a need for providing proof of citizenship or permanent residency, and there's a need for a secondary piece of ID that could just be anything government issued as far as its picture.
We have Chunav Datta, whose hand is raised, and we have Terry. So I'll let Chunav go first.
Okay, I would go audio. So good morning, John and Work BC team. My question is this training mandatory for a professional to come into security industry?
Sorry, your question was, so what is, you wanted to know what is mandatory?
Is the security, there's the training which you are talking about, the training,
Yeah.
security training. So this
Yes.
is mandatory for operations team only, or it's applicable for other functions as well?
So the security training and licensing is required for anybody that's working as a security professional, anybody that's acting in the actual act of security and representing themselves as security. If your question's kind of regarding working in an office setting, not so much. But if you're in the field or, formerly myself as a manager on the site, just because I was a manager on the site and working in the office mainly doesn't mean that I would have to come out and deal with security situations and present myself as a security individual. Does
Okay.
that answer your question?
Yeah, that's fine. As I am from a training and development background, and so how would be that applicable to me? I was just trying to map myself if I move into security industry. So is that a prerequisite for me to handle the business or look into the security aspect of it? Understanding.
So are you kind of considering moving to the security industry in a bit of a administrative kind of operations role?
Not operations role, but the training and development. That's the area where I am currently working. So if I am as I am into telecom training and HR training, so if I move to let's say security, so what would this be a prerequisite or a mandatory one for me to do?
It just it does
In
sorry.
case.
It does kind of depend on the company that you're looking at. Different companies require um, different kind of prerequisites and mandatory things within those companies. Let's say, for example, our company. I don't believe all of our people that work in HR have security worker licenses, as they don't present themselves as security individuals. I do know some do, and it definitely is an asset, especially when applying for a position within a security company, to show that you are invested in the security industry by obtaining that license. I think would definitely be an asset for when you are applying for any of those positions.
Oh, that's really wonderful, and that's really appreciated. That it's definitely like a commitment to by having a license with the security industry. Thank you so much, John.
No problem.
Terry, do you want to go next?
I don't know if his hand might still just be up from the last question.
That's what I'm thinking. Lower the hand.
There. Okay. And if people have questions come up, they can just contact us here at Work BC, and we can put you through to John, or he's also going to put his information down here in the chat now. You can go directly to John, or we can certainly look at eligibility for funding and training, and between us and John, we should be able to get you where you're trying to go.
Yeah, so
Perfect.
I just put my email address and my phone number in the chat. I know it was on the slides, but I don't know if anybody got a chance to write it down. So like I said, if you have any questions, if it just kind of comes to you later, or any ideas about the security industry or employment, just please reach out to me. I'd love to have those conversations with everybody. One of the things too is I'd like to touch base on is, even our training courses, and especially through the Zoom, if people, they want to go in the security industry, but they don't want to commit to us, and they have another job opportunity, that's fine. We can still administer that training. There will obviously be a fee for that. There'll have to be a paid instead of sponsored, which we're looking at. It would be, I believe, $358.36. That includes the exam fee and the course. When you look at a lot of other schools, there is it's around 400. We generally do try to do a little bit under because we're in the security industry, and it's in our best interest to have the security industry grow. So
We have Susan, who's raised her hand.
Hi, John.
Hi, Susan.
I'm also a Mi'kmaq background from Nova Scotia.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
I just wanted to say that if we're funding, we would really need the assurance that the person is going to be able to get the license before the course is paid for. I just know that that's one of the things when I've helped people get funding to train for security guards, that they would have to give, or someone would have to give a pretty good assurance that they can get the license in the end. So just wanted to put that.
So I did kind of think of this ahead, as I got a couple things kind of in the works in a similar situation. So what I was kind of putting forward to people is you can obtain that criminal background check from a detachment and submit it to security programs, and it would kind of give you, they might still do their own, because there's a big difference between every province as far as security licensing, and they kind of have a bit different operations. Mainly Alberta and BC have very similar, but a couple little things that are different. Security programs generally does the background check themselves, but if that's a concern of yours, that would probably be the biggest holdup for anybody applying for a security worker license, because at that point, having the BST, Basic Security Training Certificate, from the course that they did, that would already be there. The rest of the requirements are identification, citizenship, and the ability to provide those fingerprints. I'm imagining if somebody's been able to provide their criminal background check, they should not have a problem being able to provide fingerprints as well. So that would be something I would look into, as far as making sure that that person's going to be able to obtain that license, would be the possibility of having that person supply their criminal background check prior to, if you're looking for the whole thing, prior to entering into the basic security training course.
Right.
And then it would kind of be there already to submit to security programs.
Perfect. Thank you.
So I just want to elaborate a little bit more. So is the criminal record check the only thing that would be a barrier to obtaining a certificate, or is there other portions? Like, is the test, I'm assuming it's 100% accuracy that you have to pass in order to, or like, how does it work?
For the certificate, so the certificate is the 1 week course with the exam date. So there is need to finish the 40-hour course and then write the exam. The exam pass rate is at 60%. Above 60% is a pass rate to obtain a basic security training certificate. That certificate is then applied with other documents such as citizenship, identification, and that criminal background check. That's where that's done with security programs. The only other obstacle I see is being able to get to a detachment or a place that can do fingerprinting. Once, right now they've waived it, but because of COVID, but once everything kind of opens up again, they will most likely be sending out emails for people. You have 3 months to provide us your fingerprints at that time. But realistically, that would be the major hurdle I could see, is the criminal background check. And like I said, there is the possibility, if somebody's going about this on their own and they've just decided to do this on their own, and they do give that ability to explain whatever the issue is and what they're mainly looking for, because I've helped, I'd say 3 people I've known, and 2 of them have been able to get their security license after, for things that they had happen, 5, 10, 20 years ago. And one of the big things with that is obviously taking all responsibility for anything that you've done, and not trying to make any excuses. showing that that you changed and how that you changed, and what this opportunity of being able to get a security license could provide you. For a lot of people, this is a whole other career opportunity and a way for them to be able to take care of themselves and their families. So it's definitely some things that I've seen be put into those letters is, the acknowledgement of what they did and what they did was wrong, what they would do if they had another opportunity, how they changed, if there's any courses that were done or anything that was done, anything that could help out, provide those facts of how that person's changed from that incident that they're questioning about.
Okay. Okay. And sorry, Susan just highlighted to me that I said certificate, but I was actually thinking license because, yeah, so I'm assuming that criminal record check is the main barrier that could stop you from getting a license.
Yeah, I would say that. But, if you're in question, security programs is pretty interactive. They do have a 1-800 number, and you can they won't necessarily give you a yes or no at that point, but they could give you a little bit more indication. And like I said, possibly obtaining that record ahead of time to kind of assess it to make sure that everything looks good, and or if there's any issues or any hurdles that possibly could be there, have a plan for that, or talk to security programs about what the chances are that you could still obtain a security worker license.
Okay, thank you very much, John.
No problem.
Okay, is there any more questions? Okay. So if we don't have any more questions, I just want everyone to hang on for a moment because we are going to do a draw for a $25 gift card to Gemma's for participating. We also have another information session that I just want everybody to be aware of on July 29th, and that is the KVES opportunities and training in the LNG sector. So anyone who's interested, we will have a place on Eventbrite that you can sign up for that and register, or you can give us a call and we can register you. And of course, if there is any more questions, you can always contact us and we can help you get in contact with John or speak to John and for you. So let's see here. I'm going to screen share. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. Everyone's name here is on a duck. We are going to do a quick duck race and see who wins the gift card. Here we go. Oh, please work. What has happened? Why did it do this? Well, I don't know if this. Oh, no. No, it has done something to me. I had everyone's name in, as you could see. Hang on a moment. Always a technical difficulty. Okay. I'm going to see if I can find it again. Sorry, everybody. Okay. Okay, everyone, if you bear with me, talk amongst yourselves for just a moment. So
There's
sorry.
always a technical problem.
Always. I had it set, I had it ready to go. Too funny.
John, where did you say you are located? You personally?
Personally, I'm located in Surrey, just outside of Vancouver.
Have you done these kind of sessions before online?
I've done a couple. I'm new to it, so I'm definitely working on, just getting more and more interactions. It seems like things are starting to open up, and I'm going to be traveling to a couple in-person job fairs. But I definitely do like the ability to have this, these distances covered through these virtual info sessions.
Yes. Yes, we're all kind of new to them, but it's really opened up some windows for us in terms of reaching people.
Yes, it's obviously not the situation that everybody wanted, but I think it's given us some solutions to some issues that we didn't even know were there.
Mhm.
And how
Okay,
about
we can try this again. Please work.
I think Erin's frozen.
Yeah, Erin, your screen is frozen.
Just not Erin's day.
I'll go tell her.
Okay. I'm getting kicked out of this and I'm not sure why. Linza, if this doesn't work, can you just do this for me? I'm going to try one more time because I do have everything set up.
Sarah is working on it right now. I sent her the list, so
Okay.
she said she will be doing it.
Okay, perfect. So let's just see. I'm just going to hit start. We're going to see if this works, everybody. Here we go.
Yay!
What? Whoa, Brandy coming up from the back.
Brandy!
Wow. Came out of nowhere and took it. Okay, Brandy, so we will email you or give you a call and get your certificate to you. All right. So thank you everybody for joining us. And we hope you all have a great day.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks.
All right. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, bye.